if you had to nail down one moment, one precipitating event that you think set us on our current, and by our, I mean the universe's current disastrous course, what do you think that one moment would be? It can be as recent as you'd like. You can go back as far as you'd like. What do you think was the moment where the universe divided and we were set on our current horrific path?
I guess the evolution of Homo sapiens.
Well, yeah, we could probably go back and correct that real quick.
Yeah, I at first wanted to say Richard Nixon, but
yeah, I mean,
I feel like that's not far back enough. And then I don't know, maybe you can
make a pretty strong case for our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Well,
unfortunately,
yeah, I was going to say the Industrial Revolution, and then I was going to say actually Christianity is has really had some negative,
taken a bad turn in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Well, who would have thought that
you can say it.
that an overtly, clinically insane person's ramblings turning into a major world religion could go bad.
We're a mixed religion household, incidentally, because I am a Christian and Allison is not. But I agree wholeheartedly.
I believe in the Gospel of Thomas. It's pretty clear.
Compelling.
It's pretty clear evidence.
Pretty crazy,
that, there was a ranting crazy guy on the street, as there often is. And for whatever reason, this particular time really took off. His ideas, it's like if the Time Cube guy got to have a major world religion.
Here's my answer to that. It's when the entire media landscape was changed when Gawker published the Hulk Hogan sex tape.
Yeah.
And then Peter Thiel used Hulk Hogan as his pawn to take down Gawker, and independent media has crumbled slowly but surely since then. And it also is like maybe a early-ish example of billionaires just getting to decide how the world will be, on their whim.
Well, there are some prior examples of that.
I mean, of course, but...
What do you think about the time Mark Zuckerberg decided to make a website to rate the hotness of his classmates?
I've heard of this.
I mean, that hasn't turned out great.
Yeah, no, that's sort of taken down. I mean, that's a good answer to this question, I think. I don't know, I'm still going to go with when Hulk Hogan cucked his...
Was cucked.
Cucked? No, I don't remember.
Hulk Hogan, his best friend...
Bubba the love snail? Is that real? Hold on. Sponge. Oh, that's even worse. Oh. Gawker doing the Lord's work, of course, by showing us all Hulk Hogan's penis. And then I want to say that during the court proceedings that followed that, Hulk Hogan made some sort of kayfabe distinction between his penis and Hulk Hogan and his real name, Terry Bollea's penis, and Hulk Hogan's penis were importantly, legally speaking, different in this scenario.
Well, speaking of both Gawker and Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Much like Jesus Christ, Gawker is back from the grave.
Yeah, hell yeah. That is exactly the reason that I have mentioned this. Gawker's back. Good Gawker's back. We did have zombie Gawker for a while where it was like, I don't know who bought Gawker properties. Let's just say BlackRock bought Gawker, and like they staffed it with a bunch of idiots, and they've just kept it going for a while since then with nothing interesting or newsworthy coming from it. I assume that they just hired a bunch of people to like write articles affirming capitalism or whatever. But it turns out Gawker's back, baby. Some of the original writers, creators have regained ownership of the Gawker name and started a new independent Gawker, which is very exciting. The reason I bring that up is because one of our favorite writers, Kelly Conaboy is writing for New Gawker and has recently published a piece entitled Against Jumbo Blueberries.
I love Kelly Conaboy.
Yeah.
I love her.
Tell us about some of her other notable publications.
Maybe her best of all time is Do Men Enter the Bathtub on Their Hands and Knees?
Yeah, and that one is, the premise is...
She read on some online parenting message board. Someone basically said, oh, when I bathe my infant son, he doesn't like it when the hot water touches his penis and balls.
Yeah.
And then the person said, bafflingly, something like, I guess that's why men enter the bathtub on their hands and knees.
And her article had a bunch of crude drawings in it, trying to map out how a man might enter a bathtub so that his balls and penis entered last.
Yes, somehow that would make a difference.
Right. A real contortionist job to try to...
Well, and I think hands and knees is maybe literally the worst option you could choose.
Yeah.
If you wanted to maximize.
For sure. Besides maybe a squat. But in any case, she's an incredible writer. You should look up all her bylines, but she's published one of her first pieces in the New Gawker is titled Against Jumbo Blueberries. And the subtitle there is, Your fruit scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. And it's under the hashtag abominations. For if you look up all the Gawker pieces about abominations, then this will come up here. And we feel very affirmed by this piece because we have been long on record expressing our disappointment with the trend towards large versions of fruits and vegetables.
With all apologies to Gerald Stratford, of course. The king of big veg.
Yeah. Let's check in on him later, actually. I'm curious to see what he's doing. Yeah, this piece, we'll certainly link to it. I will read a small passage from it, though. Jumbo blueberries have fooled me only once. As you know, that means shame on them. I took a carton of jumbo blueberries home from the grocery store 2 summers ago under the impression that they were normal-sized blueberries. They were in a large stack in the fruit section of Whole Foods. I realized my mistake only once I got them home and attempted to add the hideous, massive things to my yogurt. Frankly, I was shocked. What the fuck? You can imagine me thinking. Gruesomely large, mealy, bereft of tartness. A horrific fruit experiment gone wrong. I'm going to skip a paragraph, which is also very good, but she goes on to say, blueberries, it's worth mentioning, are an exceptionally bad food item to make gigantic. If it were a bag of particularly gigantic onions, for instance, the onion material would be usable in the same way any onion's material would. You might waste some of the leftover onion if you didn't have proper onion storage, but the onion experience would remain the same. The experience of a blueberry, however, decreases in enjoyment relative to the increase of innards. Too much squishy innards, and the taste is bland. Your mouth becomes too full of squish. Even a giant grape would be better, given the grape innards texture contains a bit of bite. But a blueberry is essentially just a ball of mush, and nobody wants a particularly big ball of mush covered by a thin layer of skin. Or do they? And then she goes on to indicate that she reached out to Driscoll's Blueberry Research and Development Program in an attempt to figure out why these monstrous abominations exist. And the response was essentially cross-pollination and consumer demand. So apparently people demand large blueberries and large fruits and vegetables in general.
Because of his kindness and his passion for providing blueberry-related delight to his incorrect customers, I will leave him out of this. But to be clear, I believe his product is a crime against God for which he will one day be eternally punished. Yeah. She's great and correct.
I know we've read most of this now, but I just want to read. I guess I'm happy for you if you enjoy a jumbo blueberry. We all have to take delight where we can. And at least my momentary pain and waste of $7 2 summers ago was not for naught. But I do hope you know that you are wrong. You are obscene and wrong, and you have a mouthful of disgusting, ghoulish mush. Enjoy it, I guess. Enjoy your horrific filth, your vile smush. Yeah, boy. Blueberries, of all things, are really, there's almost like inverse size to taste value with them.
Yeah, you want the tiniest
You want the tiniest one.
Mm-hmm.
They're always the best tasting. You know that, first of all, if you're biting into it and the outside of the skin is soft and not taut, you're fucked. Like it's over for you. It's just going to be tasteless mush.
It's over for you. That's a phrase borrowed from the incels.
Yeah.
Who you love to follow.
Yeah, they're my favorites. They can do no wrong, those guys. I do keep tabs on them.
Well, someone's got to.
Yeah. Anyway, Seedy Business, we endorse regular size blueberries. Do I speak for both of us when I say that?
Yeah, absolutely. You're Roman.
You are Allison, and this regular size podcast is known as Seedy Business.
It's seedy business. It's seedy business.
Okay, so we are recording on a Sunday afternoon, as we often do. I arose this morning to find that it was pouring rain outside, as it so often is. Currently, we have, I think, a number of tropical storms coming through Florida this week, but I think they're mostly hitting the panhandle and not us, though we are getting some bands of rain, as we often do. Currently, though, it is sunny and nice outside. Spent a few minutes out there earlier. Allison, what is going on in our garden right now?
Then let us cultivate our garden. It's the only way to make life endurable.
What's in the garden?
Well, notably, we've had a couple of garden tragedies. So when I came home today, I noticed that there were 2 kumquats on our tree that were turning yellow.
Well, yeah, I had seen them over the last couple of days, and I thought, oh, they are ripening, like it's happening.
But they're really not supposed to ripen until the winter, right? So,
I guess.
I mean, I don't know.
I thought they were going through some just gradual color change, I guess.
So I looked at them more closely, and I noticed that there was some kind of a bug making a nest between the 2 fruits that were changing color. And I very gently tried to touch them to separate the bug nest. And at the slightest touch, both fruits immediately fell off the tree.
And, you know, I've been conditioned now to expect some thinning of the fruits.
Yeah, that is supposed to happen for sure.
But I don't know what the bug situation is. We are supposed to lovingly oil its leaves, right? Does that keep the bugs away?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we got to do some oiling.
Yeah, very, very possibly we should be doing that.
However, the fact that these seemingly prematurely ripening kumquats fell off the tree gives me an opportunity to try one. I'm going to eat one.
Oof.
Well, by popular demand, people love to hear us eat on mic, I've heard.
People love that in all their podcasts.
Yeah. So I'm going to pop one of these babies into my mouth. They're about the size of cherry tomatoes. This one has begun to, you know, turn a lighter green, yellow tone. Here we go.
Wow, that is a particularly horrible sound, actually. I don't think you can leave that sound in.
You know what? I like this. It has seeds in it that can't really be chewed. Yeah, I understand. Like, okay, here's my impression of the state of this. It's more akin to the tartness of a lime right now. And are these in fact limequats? Are these crossed?
No,
in some
these
way?
are kumquats.
These are just straight kumquats. Okay.
They're a cross between 2 types of kumquat.
Mm-hmm. That was not an unenjoyable taste right now. Obviously, like the skin to flesh ratio is a little off, but you can't eat the skin of these.
I mean, you do eat, one eats the skin
One eats
of
the skin,
kumquats. Yeah.
Yeah, besides the fact that there were a bunch of seeds in my mouth just now that I had to spit out, I didn't not enjoy that.
Okay.
So I would say if any fall to the ground between now and when we otherwise decide they're ready to eat.
They can be used for some kind of a citrus. Maybe we can
juice
Yeah,
them,
make
put them in something or something.
Of
Yeah,
the marmalade.
maybe. Yeah. I mean, I just enjoyed eating one just now.
All right.
All right. Well, that's notable.
You do have low standards.
Yes, that is an important caveat here. What is the other garden tragedy?
Similar to how I came home today and noticed this kumquat situation. Earlier this week, I came home, and as I approached the front door, I glanced over at the giant tub of earth that the melons are growing in, and I saw a squirrel stealing our melon. And it looked back at me, and it had our tiny little unripe melon.
Wait, which was it? The one in the Tupperware?
It was the one in the tub, yeah.
Really? Okay, so the one
that was
not in the tub.
more stunted and small. I haven't even checked on the slightly larger one that was on the vine that was trailing on the ground. But I haven't had the heart to look. I really should.
Yeah, I mean, it's deeply disappointing. I don't know how we keep squirrels from eating literally all of our garden food.
Well, they just do whatever they want.
They do whatever they want. I mean, we used to have a, speaking of blueberries, blueberry bush at our old house that somehow we like netted it in multiple layers of netting, but birds and squirrels always got all of them despite our best efforts. I don't know how we stop them. They're unstoppable beasts.
So someday, if we are ever able to buy a house, which is looking less and less likely.
Yeah.
I think the thing to do is actually to build a big cage and grow the blueberries inside the cage, essentially.
Yeah, right.
You can put up garden fencing all the way across the top and every side, and there'll be plenty of room so that the squirrels can't reach their little paws in and get at the blueberries anyway. And actually, the bird netting, there was one time when I had to go out and rescue a bird that had become tangled in the bird netting of the blueberry bush. So it's not a perfect, even if it worked, it has some drawbacks. Also, our last watermelon has died.
Yeah.
Which, again, supposedly they like sandy soil and hot weather. I don't know.
They don't like it
it's
here anymore, any more than we do.
Everything in our garden here is just totally cursed. Although that pumpkin is still doing all right.
Pumpkin's doing well. You know, for what it's worth, we've said it before, but apparently basil does really well here. Like we essentially have unlimited basil. We used to be able to have unlimited all year round arugula in North Carolina, but
that was great.
It was great.
Cannot be kept here. It dies here.
Yeah.
I don't understand how arugula dies. It's so easy to grow.
Yeah. Maybe we need to plant some squash to get our mojo back.
Maybe we just have an all squash year.
Yeah. All right. So today's catalog is one that we have not done an episode on. We read out of it, I want to say in like episode 2 or 3 or 4, but back in 2017, 2018, we spent a little time with it, but we haven't done anything much with it since then, although it's one of the biggest names in garden seeds, and that is Gurney's Seed and Nursery Company. We're looking at their spring 2021 catalog here. So Gurney's is an old name in the seed business. It was founded in 1866 by Charles W. Gurney, who was a lieutenant colonel during the Civil War for the Union. My seedy business promise to our listeners is that we will never profile a seed company that was founded by an officer for the Confederacy.
Okay, great. I'm glad you're in charge of the fact checking on that because
I don't know. I haven't looked back on some of these. I don't know about the Confederate links to any of the catalogs we've profiled so far, but I feel like it would have come out in my research if there were any. But so Charles Gurney was originally founded as Asparian Nurseries in Monticello, Iowa. They moved to Nebraska and then to Yankton, South Dakota in 1897, where they spent a while. Now they're based in Greendale, Indiana. They pride themselves on being, quote, America's most complete seed and nursery, which is an interesting claim. Their catalog is not the largest, thickest catalog we've ever received, but they do have a lot of fruit as well as vegetable options in it, which is not always true. So it was taken over by Charles Gurney's. He had 7 sons. What a nightmare! What's that? 7 brides for 7 brothers. Yeah, there it is. He had 7 sons. They renamed it Gurney's. And they began publishing their full-color seed catalog in 1910. In 1925, a grandson of the founder became a local radio announcer, became a DJ at the Yankton radio station, WNAX, at which point the family bought the radio station, and it became known as WNAX, Voice of the House of Gurney in Yankton. So it's essentially a propaganda arm for the company. They expanded into other business ventures in Yankton, and the radio station essentially, much like Sinclair Broadcasting does now in local television all throughout the country, they advertised for the company's businesses. What's up with WNAX now? Let's see. Does it still exist? Yeah, sure does, baby.
104.1 The Wolf, WNAX.
Yes, indeed, The Wolf. I'm on the Wikipedia for WNAX right now. And do you know that WNAX Yankton launched the career of Lawrence Welk?
Wow.
Who spent a decade in the late 1920s performing daily without pay on WNAX. Lawrence Welk is one of the greatest sources of conflict in Allison and my relationship.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Because every Thanksgiving, what I want to do is watch the Lawrence Welk show. But you think that I want to watch it ironically, and then you oppose the watching of it. But I want to watch it genuinely.
Bad. I don't really care whether you want to watch it ironically or genuinely. It's unwatchable. It's absolute garbage.
Man, I fucking love Lawrence Welk. Holy shit. Okay, in any case, this was their propaganda arm. The great-grandson of Charles Gurney, John Chandler Gurney, became a U.S. Senator for South Dakota from 1930 through 1951, presumably also using his job to further enrich their family. As an aside here, the company was purchased by Gardens Alive in 2001, which I read a little bit about. It's stylized as Gardens Alive ! Which has its own catalog called Gardens Alive ! Which I'm interested in profiling at some point. But this is a privately owned, multi-title catalog company. You may remember when we talked about Burgess recently, we talked about how they were buying up other catalogs and publishing it under their brand, but with no real indication that they owned it. I guess Gardens Alive does this also. They acquire financially struggling garden companies, buy them up, and continue publishing their catalogs. They own such properties as Breck's Audubon Workshop, Iselli Nursery, Spring Hill Nurseries, etc. This is probably their biggest buy. It is the largest seed cataloger in the country, Gardens Alive, and I did not even know it existed before now. That's the sort of shadow capital that is behind everything now. These companies that just buy up other shit. They have $100 million of annual revenue compared to the second biggest seed cataloger, which is Park Seed at $25 million. They actually tried to buy Park Seed properties at one point, but they were outbid by Backstreet Capital. So what do you think about this catalog? What do you think about Gurney's?
Well, just right off the bat, I'm going to be honest and say, just as I do not like jumbo blueberries, I don't particularly care for jumbo page sizes, which Gurney's certainly has.
Yeah, this is something it shares in common with Burgess also, which is it's on that big, where it gets folded in half across the middle of it to fit inside a mailbox. It's on a giant, I don't know what the size, we should really measure this, but it's sort of like a...
Why don't we just
measure it? Yeah. You won't have to, dear listener, hear the time that it takes us to get our yardstick and measure this, but that's what we're about to do.
All right, so the Gurney's catalog is sheets of paper that measure approximately 18.5 by 13 inches.
That's unorthodox.
Which is 470 by 330 centimeters. And then it's folded in half to, it's stapled and folded in half to create the pages of the catalog. But then that is still so large that it must be folded in half again, breaking the spine of the catalog in order to conveniently fit in mailboxes.
Yeah. I hate the catalogs that, as you said, break the spine to fold them in half. They always seem chintzier to me.
Yeah, why do it like that? Oh, and to be clear, I once heard on another podcast someone used the word chintzy. It was a live show recording, and the whole audience groaned because they thought it was a racial slur, and it is in fact not.
Okay,
no,
I didn't think it
not
was.
At all.
Okay.
Whew. But I just thought I'd interject that just in case our audience would make the same error as the Oh No, Ross and Carrie live show audience I once heard.
Got it.
Erupt with alarm.
So yeah, definitely quite oversized. You had mentioned you'd compared it to the blueberries, and actually the reason I picked this catalog is because the cover picture is some gigantic blueberries.
The depicted blueberry variety is the kablooey blueberry. So that's disgustingly named also.
Yeah, no one likes that. This catalog, it's not as gross to me as Burgess was, if that's sort of our comparison point. The cover has large coupons on the bottom of it, which make it look like shit.
I mean, and they're also not coupons.
Or are they not?
I mean, it says, hurry, coupon expires. And then it's 50% off of several different prices. They're all 50% off of the whatever price if you spend that much money. Mm-hmm. But there's not like a coupon code.
Okay.
Right? This is just, I'm sure if you order online, that's the price you get.
Uh-huh.
I mean, maybe there is a coupon code somewhere else in the catalog. And they have a QR code on the back that allows you to view, because apparently this paper catalog is not exhaustive.
Right.
And so that'll take you to their website. They do have on the back, next to our address, they have the following information, actually. They have an account number, an offer code, which I guess we could have used to get this deal. Although, again, I sort of suspect that was just the deal they were offering at that time and anyone would have gotten it. And then it says your hardiness zone and your sales tax rate.
Oh, okay. It's nice that they calculate those for us.
Yeah, that's kind of convenient.
It is. Yeah, but, unlike some of the other catalogs that we thought have looked cheap, chintzy even, where they've had like coupons on big sale markers and whatever, like this one, the picture of the blueberries on the front of this is nice.
Yeah, it's a perfectly lovely picture of the blueberries, but the cover is, as you say, marred by this yellow and red, all caps, hurry, coupon expires.
Yeah.
And as well, a little medallion that says check out new varieties inside. That's also yellow and red with jagged borders and all caps in order to, I guess, capture your attention. But my attention would be more captured by just an appealing image.
Yeah. These are sort of unnecessary, I think. And that design sensibility extends to the inside as well, where I think it's largely full of really nice, large, attractive pictures. So it's a color glossy throughout.
Yeah, and it's a reasonably competent layout, right? They've got rows and columns that are aligned. They have repeating elements where, the top corner shows a much larger image, and then the other 2/3 of the page are taken up by individual listings. Mm-hmm. It's got a competent design.
Yeah.
In terms of layout. And I will say they didn't choose the most readable fonts. They're fine, but I think their title font is not particularly easy to read. Uh-huh. But they love to put, round or jagged medallions on top of every picture All these pictures would be perfectly lovely.
Yeah, this is my overall impression of this catalog, where the pictures look legitimately quite good. The descriptions are also fairly substantial, a lot of them. We can read some of them and you can decide if they are of quality for yourself, but legitimate, decently sized descriptions, nice pictures, competent layout. Like, everything is good about it, except they overlay it with a bunch of dumb 50% off medallions and shit that make it look worse than it otherwise would.
They also have, much like Pabst Blue Ribbon, they have some fake awards called Gurney's Choice. We want you to buy this one that we're selling.
Yeah. Hey, go to page 11 for me. Will you read? There's a section that it's a real lady doth protest too much. The honest truth about heirlooms.
The honest truth about heirlooms. To classify as an heirloom, a tomato variety must be grown from seed, open pollinated, passed down from generation to generation, and at least 50 years old. Die-hard heirloom fans claim that nothing can compare to their superior flavor, but thanks to modern breeding efforts, many hybrids are closing the taste gap. These days, choosing an heirloom over a hybrid is often based solely on nostalgia for a specific variety. There's no denying that hybrid tomatoes have the edge when it comes to disease resistance, fruit appearance, and overall performance. So if you're new to gardening or looking for guaranteed success, hybrids may be the way to go. But if you have to have heirlooms, here's our favorites.
But if you have to have heirlooms, yeah, I mean, this is a company that sells mostly hybrids, some of their own design. So they have to have a whole section that tells you why that's good.
I mean, many hybrids are closing the taste gap is a very measured claim, right? They were unwilling to say many hybrids taste just as good.
Yeah, closing the taste gap. Oh boy, as you know, Allison, my favorite summer food just about is a good tomato sandwich, which is appropriately formulated with some sort of soft, fresh white bread. We
used to get that cornmeal-based bakery bread.
So good, man.
Back in Durham.
Yeah, with good. I guess I'm being told that hybrid tomatoes work just as well, but some nice heirloom tomatoes, some mayonnaise. We get that. What is that mayonnaise from the Asian market?
Kewpie.
Oh, that is the fucking shit. That mayonnaise. I'll buzz market the hell out of that. The best mayonnaise I've ever had.
They make it with apple cider vinegar instead of white vinegar. That's why it's good.
So good. That, some salt and pepper. That is basically my favorite thing to eat. But we don't have anything here. And I debased myself by buying tomatoes from Target that came two horrible tomatoes packaged in a piece of hard plastic
clamshell. Oof.
Yeah, that I tried to use in a tomato sandwich, and it was just absolute trash.
Oof.
It did not meet any of my needs or desires. But I don't know, I'm told hybrid tomatoes are doing just fine these days.
I mean, the thing that's hard to understand, when we were moving here, I thought, it's going to be a semi-tropical climate. We'll be able to grow just about anything we want. But even if you go to the farmer's market, it's not like they have produce stands overflowing with beautiful tomatoes or whatever here. Nobody can grow anything, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, the professionals can't.
One produce stand at the farmer's market
terrible.
Here. And it's like whatever.
But I mean, yeah, it's no better than what you would get at the big chain supermarket.
Yeah. I'm told that incidentally, to qualify this, I'm told that there are good farmers markets in Jacksonville where you can get legit shit. But this one on our island here in St. Augustine.
Well, and there's another one closer to where I work, down by where I work on Sundays, and they also don't appear to have produce on offer that's any better.
Huh.
So maybe in Jacksonville that's true. And I have been told that if you get to the St. Augustine one right when it opens, that there's some smaller stands that have produce that sells out quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we live in the South and we haven't gotten a decent tomato. We haven't gotten a peach.
I haven't had a good tomato in 2 years at this point. Oh, that's my existential moan.
We even went to this farm stand that's like maybe 25 minutes away that had been recommended to me by my boss here.
Well, that place was good.
It was good, but it's not like they had gorgeous beefsteak tomatoes.
That's right.
Like even their tomatoes and peaches and stuff were like fine, but not exceptional.
Right. Someday. All right. Let's read a few descriptions. I was thinking we could read some of the varieties that Gurney's has invented. How about that? Some of their house brand hybrids.
All right, shall I read the Gotta Have It hybrid corn?
Yeah, please do.
One taste and friends and family will be asking, where do you get it? I've gotta have it. A customer favorite since its introduction in 2007, this bicolor hybrid's tender kernels are packed to the brim with rich, oh-so-sweet flavor. It also allows you to enjoy that fresh-picked flavor longer. Gotta Have It has an amazingly long shelf life, 3+ weeks in its husk in the refrigerator. The superb flavor holds up for a wide range of maturity. It's very slow to become starchy, so you have a longer window of harvest. Fantastic for freezing, tastes like freshly picked sweet corn in the dead of winter. Shorter than average plants are as strong as field corn and hold their own against the elements and disease to yield 7 to 8 inch long ears that are filled to the tips with succulent, sweeter than sugar kernels. For best germination, be sure the soil is warm before planting.
Yeah, I know we just sort of shat on hybrids in favor of heirloom varieties, but I gotta say, being able to keep something in the refrigerator for a while.
Oh, corn. Absolutely. There's a reason for breeding corn, right? Like to keep the, as it says, sugar from polymerizing into starch. You can absolutely do that. No one has ever claimed that the reason they've made a hybrid tomato is to make it taste better. It's always a trade-off, right? They're trying to make it disease resistant or whatever, as the copy we read from Gurney's says.
Yeah.
But with corn, the aim really is improved taste.
Right. Gotta have it. I think that's a nice description, though. I think a lot of these descriptions in this catalog are nice.
Oh yeah, that's a perfectly fine description.
I'll read Gurney's Pride, Improved Hybrid Zucchini Summer Squash. Gurney's registered trademark, Pride Improved Hybrid Zucchini Summer Squash. If you're going to grow one squash in your garden this year, make it this one. Enjoy bumper crops of uniform, glossy, dark green fruit with tender texture and excellent taste. Compact, spineless plants are a delight to harvest all summer long, and improved disease resistance means plants will continue to pump out fruit even after other varieties have shut down for the summer.
Well, I don't really care for that closer.
I could have said it less disgustingly, but yeah.
But they wanted you to say it like that. Yeah.
I don't know how much, with some things we need to improve their disease resistance and their yield, but I feel like summer squash is doing fine. Can't we work on taste and dryness with summer squash?
Well, the secret with zucchini is people let them grow until they're the size of a baseball bat or something. But if they just picked them when they fit in the, when they were the length of their hand or something, they'd be perfectly fine. How about the Gurney's Perfect Pickle Hybrid?
Yeah, these are, let me just be clear, terrible names.
Yeah, their naming department could really use some help, I think.
Yeah.
For the best pickles you've ever tasted, pick at 3 to 4 inches, or wait a little longer for a sublime slicer. You'll have plenty of cukes for both uses with the perfect pickle. Sweet and non-bitter, with a very small seed cavity and pleasing texture. Vigorous plants are exceptionally disease-resistant, and garden performance and yield are out of this world. I'm going to be honest, the description is perfectly fine. It conveys some information.
Yeah.
But I do not really care for sweet and non-bitter. I don't really care for wait a little longer for a sublime slicer. Like, that's got a real...
That's garbage. Yeah, that's very... I mean, there's a lot of overlap in sensibility between this and Burpee, I've been thinking.
Yeah.
Especially in the way they market their own stuff. I'm interested in the characterization of a small seed. What was it?
Cavity.
Cavity. So not few seeds, it's not characterizing the size of the seeds themselves. It's the seed cavity.
Yeah.
What is the texture of the seed cavity that having it be small is good?
Well, I don't think it's the texture so much as, so it's like, you know, when you slice open a melon or a cucumber or something. Well, we're talking about cucumbers, so think about those. When you get a particularly big one and it has empty space, like it has air space inside,
Yeah.
they're saying that that space is reduced.
But the area around the seed is gooey. It's a gooey placenta type thing around the seed too, right? And you want less of that and more of the...
I mean, I think this is entirely focused on the negative space, not on any sort of gel associated with the seed.
That was my question.
I think it's mainly about the fact that when you slice the cucumber, you don't end up with holes in your slice.
Uh-huh. Do you want to read Gurney Girls Hybrid Tomato? I'm interested in that one. It's a bad name. The rest of these are Gurney's 'S something. This is Gurney Girls Best Hybrid Tomato.
Gurney Girls Best Hybrid. We didn't think we could love a tomato more than our improved Gurney Girl 2, but we were wrong. Gurney Girls Best offers slightly larger, 8 to 10 ounce, vibrant red fruit with a flavor that can't be beat. Sorry, I just started thinking about Alice's restaurant, of course. Rich, sweet, true tomato flavor is paired with a meaty, juicy texture and crack-free fruit. They just may be the perfect tomatoes. Plants are very vigorous with yields that are some of the biggest we've ever seen.
It looks like in this catalog they take reviews written on their website and publish them next to the descriptions in the catalog. This has one, I believe, a review next to it.
All right, here's the review. Best tomatoes I've ever grown. Great yield through frost in Northeast, though ripened a few weeks later than expected. Everyone I shared these tomatoes with loved them. Had both large and medium-sized fruits and very little cracking. Very tasty and keep well. Easy to start from seeds. Large plants, so feed and water regularly. Love this product. Signed, Plant Lady from Vermont.
This, of the 4 of their varieties that we've read on their website, has the poorest reviews. People appear to hate Gurney Girls tomato.
Well, I have to say, just looking at the picture of it, it looks exactly like the tomatoes you got in that clamshell from Target, except that the saturation has been turned up on the picture.
Some of the reviews on the website read, wimpy, lousy, didn't mature, sheesh. Pathetic plant with no tomatoes. There's some real sort of vicious language in these reviews. I believe I have placed my last order with Gurney seed.
Whoa.
I don't know, I'm going to say, if the hybrid tomatoes aren't doing the one thing that hybrid tomatoes are apparently good at, maybe you want to go back to heirlooms.
Yeah, you may as well get one good tomato.
All right, before we go, I did want to check back in on Gerald Stratford, who we referenced earlier, the king of big veg, to see what he's up to. So I've gone to his Instagram account. It looks like he's recording an audiobook because his most recent post reads, "Just going to the studio today, my first for an audiobook, cheers." His second most recent post is him holding 2 cauliflowers, looking proud, and the caption is, "Now what shall I do with these big boys?" Now what shall I do with these big boys?
I don't know if you should do that accent, but...
And then there's an additional post that has him, it's a video post where he's holding these 2 cauliflower. It's captioned, "You can do so much with a collie." He's wearing Oh my God. We've discussed how this man is a fashion plate, but take a quick look, Allison, at his attire.
It's incredible. So is it a matching t-shirt and shorts set that
Yes.
have an all-over print of vegetables?
Yes, absolutely it is. Ready for another
Nice.
GQ spread. This is a video. Let's hear what he has to say.
One for cauliflower cheese and one for the freezer. Fresh cauliflowers are one of the best brassicas in the world. Cheers.
I agree that cauliflowers are one of the best brassicas in the world.
One of the best brassicas. One of the best I can't do it. I shouldn't
advised
even-
you against it, and yet
I shouldn't
you
even
ignored
try. He looks incredible. Those cauliflower look good and big. They are big veg. Cauliflower cheese and one for the freezer. I'm also interested, before we go, in just giving a quick listen, just to go back in time a little bit here.
if only we could.
Here is a quick moment of testimony from the trial here.
Let me ask you this. Just let's see if we can simplify this. Do you have any doubt as you sit in that witness stand today that you were discussing the length of your penis on Bubba's radio program? Any doubt?
Well, it's not mine, because mine isn't that size, but we were discussing the length of Hulk Hogan's.
Seriously? So you
No,
were
seriously,
discussing-
I do not have a 10-inch penis. No, I do not.
Okay,
Seriously.
fair enough. So what you're telling us is you were discussing
Believe that,
Hulk Hogan's
seriously.
penis, right?
Excuse me?
You were discussing Hulk Hogan's penis.
Yeah, because Terry Bolle's penis is not 10 inches like you're trying to say.
How dare you accuse me of having an enormous penis?
Hulk Hogan's penis is 10 inches long. Just like he's got those 26-inch pythons, right? That's incidentally not his penis. That's how he refers to his biceps, I think.
You know more about Hulk Hogan than I do. A fair sight more.
I just Googled Hulk Hogan pythons, and Google suggests, how big were Hulk Hogan's pythons? 24 inches. But Terry Bollea's, who knows? All right. Well, if you're so inclined, you can follow us on Twitter at @CDBusiness or on Instagram at CDBusinessPod. You can email us at cdbusinesspod@gmail.com. Let us know if you have any catalog requests, or if you leave us a review or some sort of comment. We will certainly read it. And assuming it is at least 10 inches in length, you should eat your vegetables.
We're all just doing the best we can.
Speak for yourself.
It's city business. It's city business. Boring talk about seeds, city talk between boys. Mind-numbing chatter about our mules and spores. We'll dig a ditch and moan and split the difference. City business. It's city business.